Somewhere out there, there's a guy who's been, he's a wonderful human being, let me tell you. And he's been a tremendous inspiration to me. A lot of my videos I owe, at least in small part, to J.W. Fairy Tale. He doesn't really go by that name anymore. He stopped doing videos. I completely get it. You know, at some point, you got to step away from this whole apostate thing. But his videos were tremendously helpful to my recovery process. And you know, what I wanted to do now, see, I haven't shared very many of my personal stories growing up, Dub, simply because I don't remember most of the stories. I blocked out a large portion of my childhood. And what's great about J.W. Fairy Tale, well, I don't know if it's great or not. When you watch his videos and listen to his stories about the organization, you have a flood of memories. They come back to you because he talks about things, little things about the cult that you've not thought about in years, and is just completely gone from your memory. So like I said, that could be a good thing, could be a really bad thing. For me, it's therapeutic, because like I said, I don't remember a lot of that stuff. And most therapists will tell you that you have to face the things that are causing you problems. You can't just keep them buried in. That doesn't work. In the long run, you have to face the things that are causing you problems. You have to face your demons. And J.W. Fairy Tale helps me do that. And so what I'm going to do now, after binge watching J.W. Fairy Tale for the past few days, I'm going to attempt to relate some of my own J.W. Fairy Tales, personal stories from my experience growing up a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm going to try and do it in the style of J.W. Fairy Tale. I was an elder, and he was the school overseer for many years. I remember giving a talk, and back then, I could only do the number 2 talk because I wasn't very old yet. And I remember that my dad, my father, he gave me a W. Yeah, he gave me a W because I did not use gestures enough. My own dad. Well, you see, I didn't think that you needed to use gestures when reading the Bible. It just made sense to me. If everyone's following along in the Bible, why would they be looking at me? Well, you know, that was probably one of the first times that I felt that maybe the Jehovah's Witnesses didn't know everything that they thought they knew. Maybe they weren't as smart as they claimed to be all the time. I remember on that car ride home that I was very angry. I was very upset with my dad. I didn't talk to him the rest of the night because he was the school overseer and he gave me a W. I had to work on gestures again. You know, I actually now realize that the Jehovah's Witnesses did that on purpose. They wanted you to gesture while reading the Bible. They wanted you to hold the Bible up instead of leaving it on the podium. And it had nothing to do with your performance on the stage, whether or not the brothers and sisters were actually watching you read the Bible. But they were preparing you, they were conditioning you, friends, for the eventuality that one day you would go out in service and knock on someone's door. And when the householder came to the door, you would read them a scripture. Now, the point being, if you were not using gestures, if you were not engaging the person who probably doesn't have a Bible in their hands, hopefully they don't. You calm down. No, you calm down. I'm in this boat. I'm sinking underwater. If you would have rowed a little bit harder, we wouldn't be in this mess. Yeah, hopefully they don't have a Bible when you are preaching to them. Otherwise, they will see through your entire spiel. But yeah, you've got to hold up the Bible and use gestures to keep the householder interested. Otherwise, you won't be a very effective door-to-door slave. With a very large family, I had 5 siblings. There's too many for me to remember. There's too many. And so there was 8 of us total, including my mom and dad. And we would go out in service every Saturday. My father was an elder, and he did a very good job of leading the flock and leading his family. Well, one year, the circuit overseer came around, and we had the honor and the privilege of having him with us out in field service. It's what we've always wanted, right? You come down! Larry, what are you doing, Larry? Get back in your tomb! Larry. Yeah, so we had Brother Sobieski and his wife in our station wagon. Now, if any of you are over the age of 20 years old, you know what a station wagon is. The station wagon we had was a used car. My father took the advice of the society, and we lived a very modest lifestyle. We did not have a lot of money. He bought it was a light blue station wagon. It was very old. It had seen better days. It was rusty, quite a bit. But we thought, other people might be ashamed to take someone important out into the field ministry with a car as old and ramshackled as this jalopy was. But you have to remember that we were just taking the advice of the Jehovah's Witness organization. We were just doing what Jehovah told us was right, living modestly within our means, so that we could focus on the ministry. Well, we had Brother and Sister Sobieski along with us, and one of the first things that he noticed was the holes, the rusted out holes in the bottom of the floor where you put your feet. Well, it's all we could afford. It's all we had. I never had to worry about it. It wasn't a problem to me because me and my brother always rolled around and played around in the back of the station wagon. That's how we fit 8 people in this car. My parents joked around that there were so many of us that if we all left the truth, the congregation would lose half its members. So Brother Sobieski says, he looks down at the floor, he says, Brother, you've got to get a different vehicle. This vehicle is not safe to take someone out in the ministry. This is a piece of crap. Well, my parents took that a little harshly. It was embarrassing, upsetting, of course. Here it was that they were doing what the Watchtower had told them to do and live a poor, impoverished lifestyle so that they could focus on the kingdom ministry. And here it is, the circuit overseer. He's knocking on their ride, man. Oh, yeah, well. It was a different time. It was a crazy time to live, brothers and sisters. He meant well, of course. Well, that was just one of many things that the circuit overseers would often do to piss people off. You may think that people look forward to the circuit overseer visits. They don't. They're terrified. We're all secretly terrified of the circuit overseers. You know why? Because they come around and they shake things up. You see, a lot of the members just coast by. They go door to door maybe once a month. They might get their 10 hours of service, or they might not a month. And the circuit overseer comes round and he says, "Really? This is all you're doing?" Well, towards the end of my father was an elder for decades. He was an example for everyone in the congregation, but it took its toll on him and our family. And what I mean by that, because some of you may not know what it's like. Some of you worldly types might not know what I'm talking about, but when you are living in the household of an elder, you don't just go to the Kingdom Hall Sunday morning and then go home and live your life. No, there's much more to it than that. After the meeting, there would be elders meetings, so you and your family would be stuck at the hall for an extra hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, sitting around starving to death because you were hoping to go to Pizza Hut after the meeting to visit with your witness friends and have association and feed your stomach. Well, you can't do that. Most of the time you were stuck at the Kingdom Hall because your dad, well, he was an elder and he had responsibilities. Many, many responsibilities. He went from being a school overseer, which wasn't too bad, but eventually he got put into the position of the congregation secretary. And let me tell you, that is the worst elder's position you can have. Because then, what are you talking about? Calm down. Then you have all the responsibilities of keeping records, field service time, generating reports for the financial part of it, I believe, is also something he had to do with the contributions. For a while there, my father had a lot of responsibilities, friends, and it just took a toll on my dad. And, when he was in his 50s, after he sacrificed not just his time, but our family's time, eventually he just wanted to step down. He wanted to live a little bit, live his life, and do things that he enjoyed, and not have to keep afloat the entire congregation and all their problems and all their worries. He didn't want to have to go out in the middle of the night when he should be hanging out with his son, to go to a shepherding call because somebody had gotten frisky with another somebody in the congregation. Yeah, you stop talking like that. Let me cover my mouth so you can't see my garlic teeth. Yeah, so he told the elders one day that he wanted to step down, and, well, they wouldn't let him. They said, "You know what? Brother, you're just indispensable. We can't lose you. Jehovah has appointed you for a reason, and we are not going to let you go." Well, Dad tried several times. He really did, to get out of it, and they wouldn't let him, but he saw an opportunity coming his way when the circuit overseer visited. You see, anything you need to get done in the congregation, the best time to get stuff done is when the circuit overseer is there, because he has supernatural powers. He's more than an elder. He's got real powers. He can make things happen on the chop. So yeah, the circuit overseer came around, and my father went up to him and said, "Listen, brother, this is my situation. I'm tired. I've sacrificed decades of my time and my family's time to the congregation, and I just want to live a little bit before I die." And his response was, "Well, brothers, if this man doesn't want to be an elder anymore, then he doesn't have to be. So, bye." I don't remember the exact wording that was used, forgive me, but it was to the effect, it was the modern day equivalent of "Bye, Felicia." Bye, Felicia. Yeah, thanks for all your hard work. My dad didn't want to be an elder in the first place. He often told us that. They needed someone so bad that they begged. They begged my father to be a Jehovah's Witness elder until finally he gave in. And he spent decades putting everyone else before him and his family. And this circuit overseer's response was, "Bye, Felicia." Wow, calm down. Calm down. It was, oh, you know, that's just the way things have to be, brother. If we let all the elders go and commended them for stepping down, then, well, there wouldn't be any elders anymore. Jehovah's people don't want you to enjoy anything. It's true, it's true. They don't. They don't want you to enjoy anything. You know, how many times growing up did I like a movie or a worldly form of entertainment, and the next Sunday it came out, that's not wholesome Christian entertainment. You can't watch that. Well, you know, this was a common theme throughout my life, and frankly, as I got older, I just got tired of it. You put me down, cheese and crackers! I don't want to be held like that. I remember going and hanging out with my friends and their parents, and you had to be careful what you talked about when you were in the association of other Jehovah's Witnesses. Especially on the subject of entertainment. I was hanging out with some friends and their parents one time, and this is when I was older. You know, I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I'd not quite left yet, but I was getting real fed up at this point. And I was talking about the Lord of the Rings. Ooh. I don't like Lord of the Rings, I just like cheese and biscuits. I liked the Lord of the Rings, and I was excited about it, and I was telling all my friends, you know, my favorite parts and whatnot, and the father of this friend that I was talking to, he turns around and he says, "The Two Towers. That sounds very satanic to me. Is there spiritism in this movie?" Well, of course, you know, I was supposed to respond, "Yes, brother so-and-so. I should not be viewing such spiritistic forms of entertainment. I'm so sorry," but I had gotten a little fed up with it, and so what came out of my mouth next was, "Well, let me ask you this, brother so-and-so. Have you ever seen The Wizard of Oz? Because there's a lot of spiritism in that." And now, who hasn't seen The Wizard of Oz? Especially our older ones, friends. You gotta remember, see, that's how you hit them where it really hurts. Because growing up, that was probably one of their favorite movies. And so, yeah, he had to respond, "Well, yes, I have, but you have to, that's different." And I said, "How is it different, brother? They both have spiritism in it." And I said, "How about this? Let me ask you this. Do you own The Wizard of Oz? Do you actually own a copy of it? Is it in your house right now?" And at that point, he sort of grumbled and shifted in his seat a little bit. He was very uncomfortable, and he had nothing to say. So I stood up, indignant and angry, and just frankly, I'm fed up with the organization and their stupid rules on what we can and can't enjoy. And I said, "You see? You can't draw that line because it goes everywhere."
Wow! Hi. I know who you are. And you know who I am. We're Jehovah's people. My name? Oh, I can't tell you that. But you can call me J.W. Ferry, because I tell stories, just like the people at the library. But my stories are different. They're about Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, J.W. Ferry, It's nice to meet you, but I'm already subscribed to 100 Jehovah's Witness channels. My inbox is flooded with videos.
Yeah, I've seen some of those videos. Let me remember. My mother gives me an icy glare whenever she comes to visit the grandchildren. I fear our relationship will be in disrepair for some time. You're fucking kidding me. Armageddon! It was real! It was coming! Still is coming, but now it's soapy. It's convoluted. In the 80s, it was tangible. You could hold on to it. It wasn't gonna be no 90s. People come down right now. Yeah!
You calm down, or I'll throw you off a building in New York and make it look like a suicide. Whoa! Who said that? Calm down, please. Just calm it. Guess I wanted to talk to you guys about my dad. Or your dad. Your parents. I think we judge them too harshly. It's sometimes people, you almost feel like you're smarter than your parents because they still go to the Kingdom Hall, but I have to remind you that when our parents were young, the prophecies, there was still a chance they could come true. When you think about it, 1975 was still, maybe it was going to be Armageddon. I don't know. The 1914 generation thing had not fallen through. Those prophecies were still up in the air. It was a different time. And the world was different, too. My dad was a Jehovah's Witness elder for 4 decades. Now, you probably know Jehovah's Witnesses that are violent, even animalistic. But I believe there was a time when most Jehovah's Witnesses were as innocent as they say.